Tree of Smoke is an American novel by Denis Johnson, centered on the Vietnam War. Primarily set in 1965, it follows Skip Sands, a newly minted CIA agent deployed to Vietnam amidst the American insurgency. The narrative also weaves through the lives of James Houston, an infantry private, his brother Bill, and Kathy Jones, an employee of a Canadian NGO. Spanning from 1963 to 1970, the novel concludes with an epilogue set in 1983, reflecting on the war's aftermath. The title, Tree of Smoke, alludes to various biblical verses, highlighting themes of culpability, violence, and chance. Skip Sands, a former Air Force officer, is tasked with psychological operations against the Viet Cong. His uncle, known in the intelligence community as the Colonel, is a legendary war hero who assigns Sands the duty of organizing a vast collection of unstructured data on index cards, which he believes holds the key to U.S. victory. However, Sands soon finds the data mostly useless and is subsequently transferred to Vietnam. In Vietnam, Sands aspires to become a significant figure in the war effort, but is instead sent to an isolated village. There, living under an alias, he interacts primarily with his two house servants and is instructed to gather information about local folklore to understand the Viet Cong's strategies and motivations. Struggling to meet his uncle's expectations, Sands eventually realizes that the Colonel is descending into madness in his obsessive efforts to solve the war. Sands discovers an article dubiously claimed by the Colonel as his own work and becomes increasingly concerned about his future. Changing his strategy, Sands decides to recruit a double agent to feed false information to the Viet Cong. He enlists a man named Trung Than, who agrees to the plan. However, the Colonel soon intervenes, ordering Sands to use his limited Vietnamese skills to investigate Trung's background. Lacking concrete evidence, the Colonel's paranoia escalates, and he accuses Sands of leaking information to Trung's Viet Cong superiors. Feeling betrayed by his uncle's distrust, Sands is further disillusioned when Trung is placed in a hotel and targeted by an assassin, though he narrowly escapes. Shortly thereafter, the Colonel dies, and Sands learns that his uncle's mistakes will be used to scapegoat him for the war hero's failures. Another American spy provides Sands with money to disappear for a few years. While in hiding, Sands is eventually discovered and charged with arms trafficking, leading to the execution of his entire team by hanging. The story then revisits the time when Sands and the Colonel were working together, showing Bill and James Houston, brothers serving in the American military, as they carry out their duties while grappling with their disgust for the war's violence. They occasionally send money home to their family, but mostly squander it on alcohol and prostitutes to suppress the horrors they face. Bill returns to the United States first, struggling to reintegrate and eventually spending time in prison. When James returns, Bill has already been released. Bill, frustrated to see his brother repeating his mistakes, watches helplessly as James also ends up in prison. Interwoven with the main narratives, Johnson's book also explores minor stories of people trying to maintain ordinary lives amidst the chaos of the Vietnam War. One such character, a nurse named Kathy, loses her husband early in their marriage when he is killed while serving as a priest. Kathy then works for a company that coordinates adoptions for Vietnamese orphans. She has a brief romantic involvement with Sands and undergoes a temporary religious crisis. Another narrative follows Hao and Kim, a Vietnamese couple striving to stay on good terms with the Colonel. Hao collaborates with him, providing information to the Americans and forming connections with other intelligence officials. Their assistance eventually earns them an escape from Vietnam. As the novel concludes, the surviving characters are all attempting to rebuild their lives after enduring the traumas of a decade of war. Tree of Smoke, with its circular, fragmented, and tragic storytelling, mirrors the disorienting experience of soldiers in a war zone filled with blasts, impressions, and fragmented memories from violent encounters. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe. Thank you.